did not realize that dying could be so easy and beautiful. These are the words of Herr Theodor Deppisch on his deathbed, who died in 2020 with corona. If we want to enjoy a death as happy as his, then it is worth looking into how Theodor lived, because the key to a good death is a good life. His family told me that Theodor was well prepared for death, not just in his last months, but for years. He and his wife often talked about dying, and Theodor had a box labelled "For My Last Journey." In it was a suit to wear in his coffin. There were details for the requiem and where he would be buried, even a menu for those who would be at the wake. These details show he was mentally well prepared, by no means in denial about death. He was not afraid of dying. In fact, his daughters report he was looking forward to it, to what he could expect in the afterlife. This is how saints think. His family told me about his steadiness in the areas of work, family, and religion. And the example he set is not too hard for us. In business, Theodor did not exclude religion. He was a wine merchant and hotelier in northern Bavaria. He worked very hard and was very successful, but didn't put success down to himself, rather to God's gift. He was authentic, never failing to give witness to the faith, including in business meetings and in social gatherings. In the hotel, there was a crucifix hanging in every room and in the lobby. For some years, the parish office was located under his own roof. From his vineyards, he donated mass wine to supply the local parish. It happened that for reasons outside his control, he lost the wine business. He stood in front of the big winery and said, "The Lord gave it, the Lord took it away. Blessed be the name of the Lord." This witnessing to the faith at work he did in a way that there was nothing forced or artificial, but he reminds me of a lady who had a business in New York to organize locations for shooting films. She decided to put a picture of a monstrance on her website because it was beautiful and because she's Catholic. And the business was just blessed and blessed and blessed. It took off. Of course, Catholics like to see that. Perhaps other people saw it and they think she's honest, she's trustworthy, she's open. In any case, if we're not ashamed of God, then he will not be ashamed of us, and this is important for our death. Jesus said, "Everyone therefore that shall confess me before men, I will also confess him before my Father who is in heaven." But whoever is ashamed of Jesus and his words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will also be ashamed of him when it comes to judgment. In his family life, Theodor married at the age of 29. He had 6 children. His last advice to his children, as a departing testimony, was "Führe ein gottgefälliges Leben," lead a life pleasing to God. For his own part, for 2 or 3 weeks before each Christmas, he would personally visit former employees or those who had retired, and the sick, bringing gifts. For the nuns living in the neighbourhood, all year round, he would bring them big boxes of apple juice from his orchards, knowing that they liked it. He didn't send somebody to do this, he did it himself. And he cared for others. He loved his wife, who's still living, and his children. He made room in his house for 2 old aunts. And throughout their last years, he looked after his parents daily. He's left behind a big and growing Catholic family. For religion, he never missed Sunday Mass, and when work permitted, he also went during the week. He went to confession regularly. In his later years, he prayed the rosary every day, in the late afternoon, together with his wife. His daughter says when she thinks how many times he said, "Pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death," that helps explain why he had such a good death. Remembering him, his daughters say he loved life. He loved to eat. Nothing spectacular, but he was grateful for his wife's cooking. And in his last years, he often gave little hints that he would die. Nothing heavy or severe, but natural. He joked about it. He would say, "I was just at the hairdresser, and I went to confession, so I'm prepared for dying." This shows he was not just prepared himself, but he's helping prepare his family. And though he loved his wife and children, it was easy for him to leave them in dying. He knew that they were in God's hands. At 87 years old, he was still active, a bit weak bodily, but clear-headed. The last 5 days he and his wife lay in bed together, both sick with corona. His wife said that that was such a valuable time because they talked a lot, prayed a lot. It was not obvious that he was about to die. In those last days, he told his wife for the first time in over 60 years of marriage that as a young man he had thought about becoming a priest. But as an only child, he discerned that his way was to keep the family business going and to look after his own parents. Now one of his grandsons is in seminary. He received the last rites the day before dying. The single most sure way of securing the last rites is to bring up your children in the faith, and they will see to it. For his memorial card he chose Psalm 111, desiring to be like the just man who was never moved. His daughter says he achieved this desire. War ein Fels in der Brandung. The psalm speaks of not fearing the Unheilsboten, evil tidings, and so it was in Corona time. While many were afraid, he did not fear at all, even when contracting it. His heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. His heart is steady, he will not be afraid. He has distributed freely, he has given to the poor. His righteousness endures forever. The best way to secure a good death is to live well. There are saints who have done spectacular things, and this is good to edify us all, to raise our sights. But most often it is the steadiness of daily life that builds up sanctity. I know other people as well who do not fear death, but actually look forward to it, are excited by it. By no means would they do anything to bring it on early. And of course it's normal to have an aspect of trembling at the thought of judgment, but it is going to be such an awesome day of revelation. In fact, please God, the best day of our lives. Birth into eternity. To have a good death, choose life.